So we are finally going to take a look at Geoff's red S15 Silvia. And I have to specify the color because he does have more than one S15. This one we've been working on for, I don't know, maybe a year or two now since he got it. And we've done a fair amount of work to this thing. When he brought it to us, it was stock S15 for the most part. I think it might have had some body work already done to it, like a show car of sorts. And along with the car, he gave us a pile of parts: a 2JZ engine, CD009 trans, and a bunch of parts that he got from Turn 14 and other vendors that he works with. And so I'm going to kind of just show you around some of the stuff that we've done to it and some other work that's been done to it over the course of the past year or two since he's had it. Starting with some of the more obvious stuff. Big custom-made intercooler we fabricated for him. Not much off-the-shelf stuff that would support the horsepower and fit on the car very easily. We also just added this little protection bar to it and made him some spare intercoolers. And this intercore got a little beat up. Well, the other one did. This one we went ahead and made him a spare of. So this is the new one. And you can see the charge pipes we made for it some time ago when we initially did the engine swap as well. Here, kind of angled them back just to keep them a little safer, out of harm's way. Another obvious thing is the wastegate dump tube coming out of the hood there. That was centered a little better, but this car's been bumped into some stuff a little bit. The car is pretty fully equipped. I mean, it's got Willwood brakes, it's got full Parts Shop Max steering angle kit on it as well. Some custom brake lines we made. We deleted the ABS on it. One of the things that it was just here for was relocating the radiator into the trunk. So this big hole in the deck lid and this venting here is pretty obvious. Some tin work we made just to kind of help exit the hot air out of the radiator, just to kind of get it out, that way it just didn't dance around in the trunk. And we have like a little gurney flap type of thing here. The idea was to kind of create a low pressure zone here. So the idea is that hopefully this roof wing and this will kind of help do that, to let the hot air out here. See here, a little bead roll work. So we mounted the radiator. It's a MA-Motorsports that we have had experience with, and we custom made the shroud with these little flaps. And these little flaps, they just open up when airflow goes through there. Also just finished up this rear crash bar for him. Pretty standard, has a jacking point as well. And you can also kind of see the radiator inlet duct here. Kind of just keeps air from, kind of feeds the air into it. It's just some tack welded sheet metal steel, and we didn't seam weld it in case it gets bumped into or he does some crazy gnarly dirt drop. While we're under here, you can see the exhaust that we also made. At first, when we first did the swap, we just had a turn down there at the diff where that V-band is. But due to now having the radiator back here, we wanted to exit the exhaust past the radiator, so we made this tailpipe for him. It's 3-inch to 3.5 out. Nice little slash cut tip, nice and simple. So digging into this rear mount radiator setup a little more. When we originally did the swap, we put the battery back here, so that stayed. We have these water lines here along with the bleed lines. They both come off the in and out, and the bleed line runs over to this radium tank, which also feeds off of the lower section of the radiator. So that's our plumbing really from the back. You can also get a better look at the tin work here and the exit duct in the trunk lid. here are the hoses that come from the back of the car, from the radiator to our hard pipes there that we have some bleed ports in. And then these hoses come to and from the water pump, which we have mounted right here behind the passenger seat. And new rules allow us to just use a heat sleeve on the hoses if they're in the cabin, which is nice. It makes things a lot easier. So there's a new big brand new Mezzier water pump mounted there, bracket welded on, just a little touch-up paint. And then from here the hoses go to bulkheads, which then run underneath of the car through the trans tunnel. While we're in here, you can see these Sparco seats I think he's getting rid of. This cool old Yashio factory spin turn knob, which I hooked him up with. This was in my S13 well over a decade ago. It's been sitting in my toolbox. He asked if I knew of anybody that had one, and I did. Thing's been sitting around. I don't have any use for it, so I'm glad it found a good home. AEM digital display mounted in here, and this thing runs on a Link plug-and-play ECU that we set up for him and was tuned by Carl at Black Box Tuning. All XRP plumbing everywhere. Fuel system, again made in-house, uses an Injector Dynamics IDF 750 down there, and you see our heat-wrapped radiator hoses running through there. AEM fuel regulator. We also just put on a fresh HKS timing belt, put cams in it, GSC cams. This has a booster delete. Again, we got rid of the ABS and brake booster at his request. Installed this little mini master cylinder down there, which frees up some space for this super cool Alaria oil breather tank. Again, plumbed with XRP stuff, and these super cool little radium press-in fittings. They are designed to go right in a JZ valve cover. So those things are super cool, make life really easy. You don't have to weld any fittings onto your valve cover. You just press those in and they swivel. Very cool. So, you know, another some heat management going on over here. We have like a little stainless heat shield we made down there. Everything on the turbo side is heat wrapped. And without the radiator up here, a lot more room than usual, which is really appreciated when you're working on it. And also, these engines are not notorious for running cool, so moving the radiator to the back really does help with these things a lot, especially in a drift car where you don't have a lot of forward airflow necessarily. Turbo Smart blow-off valve, modified throttle body with a little elbow welded on. Some more radium parts here, this fuel rail. So again, this engine runs on VP110 race fuel. It makes 500 wheel horsepower on our dyno, which is pretty damn good. Definitely a ripper. You'll have no problems, especially this being a demo car and not a competition car. It's very safe, very reliable. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about Geoff's S15 here, feel free to leave questions in the comments. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.